Racecourse is the most beautiful racetrack in America, hands down.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the breeding stock sale. Book one. Good to have you back with us.
And welcome in, everybody, on a Wednesday night as we get set for Day 5 of the Keeneland Spring Meet. I'm Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. Great to be with you as we get on the Keeneland look-ahead trail for what looks to be a 9-race card on Thursday that can't be any crazier than what we saw on Day 4 here on Wednesday. We'll review a little bit of what happened on Wednesday and the kookiness that ensued on the tote board in just a moment. Of course, it's a big week of racing this week. We've got 2 stakes headliners on Friday and Saturday to talk about. The Maker's Mark Mile on Friday, Grade 1 company to look forward to. Also on Saturday, the Jenny Wiley. And we could have a backdoor look into the Kentucky Derby or Preakness with the Lexington Stakes. So good racing to come this week on Friday and Saturday. Of course, the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 will return on that Friday program as well as we look ahead to the Thursday card that we know Keeneland Turf Pick 3 with just 2 turf races on the schedule. We'll go over the entire map and the day in our big picture. We'll look at the public handicappers picks as well for Thursday in just a moment. But we've got to talk about a wacky Wednesday. Folks, if you didn't watch the races today at Keeneland, 5 winners at 10-1 or more, including a 73-1 shot winning. It was just chaos ensuing throughout. A Keeneland record payoff in the late pick 5. One lucky winner was alive to a 7-5 shot in the finale and got him home. That one lucky ticket paid $326,000, the all-time record for a 50-cent pick 5 at Keeneland. Nothing to sneeze at in the early pick 5 either. That was just $131,000. So major returns. We saw Speed return and do well on the main track. If you watched the program last night hinting to week number 2, we mentioned it. The caution flags were up there. The moisture that was around on week 1, the different quality of horses. We said that Speed would come very soon. We didn't know it would be just instantly like it was, but the early Speed on the main track returned to Keeneland with a tight and fast race course by the end of the day. So I would expect with good forecast as we take a look at the Thursday card and what's expected. The forecast looks good, as you see from KYT, WKYT at the bottom of the screen, 62 degrees. They say partly cloudy. I say mostly sunny because you got to be optimistic about things. If it's only partly cloudy, that means it's mostly sunny. I'm no weather person, but I did take meteorology for a semester in college. Hardest class I ever took, so that's why I'm talking horses and not trying to predict the weather. But neither one of us really have a great percentage when you think about it. But again, it should be a great day for racing on Thursday as we look ahead tonight to the program tomorrow. 62 degrees. I expect fast track. Turf course is never firm at Keeneland, hardly ever. There's going to be some give in this turf course for some time, probably for the remainder of the meet, despite what weather we get on any individual day. So expect some give to the turf course, but we will be on a fast track tomorrow by all checks and balances that we can see from the local weather folks. So that's what we're looking to do, and we're looking to pick some winners on that main track coming up on the Thursday card. So big program to look at in terms of 9 races. We move up from 8 to 9, and as we take a look at what we've got for us on schedule tonight and for tomorrow, let's get our big picture up. And the big picture is our nightly look ahead to the next day, where we take all the races, we spread them out, and we kind of show you what's what and where the wagers come and where the sequences begin. Pick 5, of course, begins in the opener with the early pick 5. Race number 5 on a 9-race card will be a swing race in the pick 5. We've been talking about the value of those swing races, where if you have a strong opinion in race number 5, it's the last leg of the first pick 5, races 1 through 5. It's also the first leg of the last pick 5 of races 5 through 9. So we had a little swing race luck yesterday or today on the card at Wednesday at Keeneland. So hopefully we can kind of continue those successful moves in those sequences where if I want opinion, you can get lucky and catch it twice. I will say that even hitting the swing race, though, I was not able to come up with the $128 horse, nor the $300,000 pick 5. So therefore, I'm working tonight, and we're working towards trying to cash one for tomorrow. 2 turf races on the card, the 6th and the 8th, denoted there. So for me, as I look ahead to the program on Thursday, I've got one nice price horse in race number 8, who's a 12-1 morning line. I will tell you this, in the 9-race card, I've got 6 favorites picked on top in the morning line. That's not like me, but that's the way I see the races shaking out on Thursday. So for me, I've got a spot play where the prices are, and race number 8 is where I think I can get the best price. Race number 3, I've got a horse who's kind of a middle third choice kind of runner who looks to be able to sit right behind a speed duel. We'll talk about that race. So for me, as a pace player and a value player, races 8 and races 3 are the 2 that I'm really going to take a big look at tomorrow and put more of my budget on those 2 races than the others. And then, of course, races 6 and 9 have the fullest fields. One of those on the grass, the other on the main track. The 9th is a maiden special weight for the finale. But full fields, of course, help if you're playing tries and supers. And obviously, pick 4s, pick 5s. You want the larger field sizes, folks. That's just the bottom line. Better betting, better value with the larger field sizes. Keeneland's been great with that this meet. And on the Thursday card, races 6 and 9 are the ones that you want to attack. Let's take a look at the selectors box, the handicappers consensus available at Keeneland.com. And let me get rid of that scroll at the bottom of the screen so you can see all the way down to race number 9. 2-year-olds open up the card, and we've got Wesley Ward with an entry in there with a couple horses. So we'll see if he can get off the schneid in the 2-year-old races. We'll talk about that. Soraya in race number 2, you're going to see picked by 4 of the 5 handicappers. So this is a horse who's going to be solidly favored, speed to the inside. Interesting horse, Baby Yoda, going in race number 4, multiple grade 1 placed runner, one of the top sprinters in New York last year, in for a $10,000 starter allowance. Eligible because the horse ran for 10 early in his career, got really good. Now does he just run it out on Thursday, or is this a bad sign that he's available for the $10,000 starter allowance condition? Of course, he can't be claimed in a starter allowance, but interesting placement to be sure. Looking at some of the other selections down the way, it looks like Blue Kentucky in race number 7's got 3 people picking on top. Tom Leach, myself, Gabby Gaudette. And in the last race, you've got Warrior Johnny picked by 3 of us as well. So there's some opportunities in there where there's not just a race where it's all 5 leaning on, but I think the race 2, Soraya is going to be heavily favored. Baby Yoda is going to be heavily favored. Alfie Solomon's in race number 3 has the potential to be pretty heavily favored. Wesley Ward's got a favorite in the first race, I'm sure, with a 2-horse entry. So you could see races 1, 2, 3, 4. I said the word favorite a lot in those, and that's one of the concerns. If you're playing the early part of the card, if you're looking for big prices, they may not be coming but again, we had crazy day today where it was just bomb after bomb after bomb with those 5 different winners at 10-1 plus. If you're going to get prices on the Thursday card, though, the way I see it and kind of the way the public selectors box kind of shakes things out there a little bit with the handicappers consensus, it may come on the back half of the card. It may not be the front half of the card where we get the best value on this Thursday program. And absolutely nothing wrong with that. The only thing it does is test your patience. Don't overplay in races where you don't have a strong opinion. I don't tell you not to bet much. I mean, that's my job, is to get you excited and want to bet and play the races. But if your budget is $100 for the day, don't bet 10 in all 10 races. Spread it out and get the most on the races that you like the most. So you may have a $40 play and have a $100 budget for the day, but the race you really like, and if that's the one you want to attack, that's where you got to go. And for me, like I was talking with, I've got 6 favorites, but I got a 12-1 shot in race number 8. I might put 40, 50, 60% of my budget for the day on that one runner, and that's going to be the horse who makes my day. So that's the way you strategize. It doesn't affect your overall bottom handle of what you're doing, but it gives you a chance to make money and collect when you're right. You've got to score when you're right in this game. It's hard to pick winners. And when you do, you want to get paid. So get paid when you're right. And that's the key to all of the handicapping, no matter which track you're playing. But certainly here, Keeneland in the springtime, and after we saw 5 10-1 shots or more win on the Wednesday card. Some folks really got paid on Wednesday. Let's see how it continues for Thursday. Time to get handicapping. Let's get right to it. 4.5 furlong, 2-year-old maiden special in the opener. These are the baby races. Wesley Ward, we talked about this yesterday, surprisingly, but Wesley Ward is now 0 for 3 in the Keeneland baby races. He did not click in the opener today. In fact, he didn't run in the top 2 again. Wesley's 2-year-olds have been just struggle city. So what do we do with Wesley Ward in these 2-year-old races moving forward? Well, remember last year, we reminded you on last night's card, or on last night's program. Last year during the 2021 spring meet, Wesley lost the first 4 2-year-old races on the season. He ended up winning 6 of the last 7 offered. So he can turn the corner. Will it happen on Thursday? Well, that's the question mark. He's got a 2-horse entry here, and he's got the 2 Devious Stairs, as well as the 2B Hurricane Debbie. And while he rides Gerardo Corrales on the outside horse Hurricane Debbie, the 2B, that's not necessarily a bad sign. Ward wins with a lot of the B riders that you might think on the assignment chart, and he wins a lot of races with Corrales at Turfway Park. Of course, any fan of Turfway knows Ward and Corrales, just a tremendous percentage together of those 2 at Turfway Park. They hit over, 35% according to the DRF stats. So no doubt the 2B could certainly be a major factor in here, but I think the 2's the stronger of the 2. Devious Stairs is a horse who cost $170,000 at the Keeneland November sale. $170,000 for a Ward 2-year-old, a win early type. That's a pretty big investment. So I think Devious Stairs is well meant. You get Irad Ortiz. Now the difference with Wednesday's Wesley Ward's horses, those horses had the works at Turfway, and that's why I picked against him on Wednesday. Remember, it's like 54 out of 64 now, something like that, of the horses who have won 2-year-old baby races on the dirt here at Keeneland in the spring. They all had workouts at Keeneland right before. The horses shipping in from other places win 1 in 6, 1 in 5. It's a small percentage. So we really want to look to the horses who have the Keeneland works. Both Wesley horses have the Keeneland works here. The 2 Devious Stairs, I think, is the stronger of the pair. If you're going to pick against Wesley Ward in here, watch the 7 Becky Thatcher. John Hancock, the number 2 trainer that we've seen over the years in these 2-year-old races, he picked up his 8th victory in the 2-year-old races. Wesley's got mid-30s. I mean, Wesley owns these races, but John Hancock's the other to watch. He had a $44 horse who was our second choice on the Wednesday program, and got a big win there at $44 to get the card started. So John Hancock can certainly get these 2-year-olds ready to go. He's got the outside runner in here, the 7 Becky Thatcher. I'll take 2 and 7 and try to move on in the opening race. Let's take a look at the handicapper selectors box as we work our way towards race number 2. And this is one where you're going to see this is a race where there was some pretty strong unity, right? Soraya, he's the 1 horse down on the rail. This is a horse whose rail speed good at about on a 16th at Keeneland. Short stretch run. They finished at the 16th pole, short run to the first turn. Soraya looks, almost like Lone Speed in here. There's not a lot of other early pace to go. Short price on Mike Battaglia's morning line. Off the claim last time, and you say, horses don't move up when they leave Tom Amos's barn typically, but Matt Shire, the claiming trainer area, it's over 20% with the first-time horses in his barn. I think Soraya is going to be a pretty short price, and I think a clear horse to beat in here. If you're looking for the exotics, Talk Radio's got a win over the racetrack. That never hurts here at Keeneland. I like Keeneland pedigrees. I like Keeneland good past performances. Again, this is a boutique meet where we don't get many starters over the years, over the course of a meet. So when a horse has a good feel for Keeneland and has a good record at Keeneland, they're worth playing back. I think horse for course angle here is more amplified than it is at other racetracks. So Keeneland, definitely a horse for course deal. And I think with the outside horse in their Talk Radio, that's the other one to consider. But Soraya, I think just goes wire to wire from the inside. And we saw speed. It was back today, right? So if early speed's back running well at Keeneland, track should stay tight tomorrow again. No reason whatsoever why we would think that the track would be any different tomorrow, maybe even a little bit quicker as it tightens up here as things dry out. So let's go to the third race on the card, and this is one of those races that's got a dual condition to it. They call it a 20,000 B claimer, if you will. These are horses that have not won 3 races lifetime, or 3-year-olds taking on the older horses. We don't have any 3-year-olds in here taking on the elder, so they're treat this basically like a standard non-winners of 3 lifetime race. And for me, my money's on Windy City Red, the 4. As we talk about in the big picture, this was one of my key plays, and we go back to the big picture here. Race 3 was a stalking pace play to upend the favorites, and that's what we're looking to do here, because there is a great amount of speed with number 6, Alfie Solomons. Alfie Solomons, very fast horse for Wesley Ward coming off the layoff. Ward's layoff horses have run well at the meet, especially the turf sprinters. But Alfie Solomons here will be on the main track. 6.5 is going to stretch this one's speed, as will the number 2, Feast. Feast is very fast for Mike Maker with an aggressive Luis Saez in the saddle. He's also freshened since February. I think the 2 Feast and the 6 Alfie Solomons really go after each other, and that's going to set things up for me for one of my key plays of the day, and that's going to be Windy City Red. Windy City Red, the 4 horse here in race number 3, is going to be the play under Tyler Gaffleon. This horse looks like it just sits third and pounces on those 2 speed horses. The extra half furlong really makes a difference in these kind of races. At 6, you just really lean on the front-running speed, even if there's a potential duel. But I think at 6.5, Alfie Solomon's Feast, they can soften each other up. And one of my key plays of the day is Windy City Red. I think we'll go off second or third choice in the race, somewhere in that 3 to 4 to 1 range. Hopefully they go all in on Alfie Solomons. That's what I want to see happen. Nothing against Alfie Solomons, but the harder they go on that one, the bigger price we're going to see on the others. So speed duels got to take part. If there happens to be a scratch of the 2 Feast or the 6 Alfie Solomons, then things change up a little bit. Then from a pick 4, pick 5 player standpoint, you want to use one of those speed horses along with the 4 Windy City Red. But with the 2 of them in there banging heads, I think it's a chance that we can get a horse from just off the pace. And Windy City Red under Tyler Gaffleon, last year's leading rider at Keeneland with, 40 victories during the course of the 2 meets. We expect Tyler Gaffleon to make another big run towards the riding title. Hey, it was a great opening weekend for Flavian Pratt and for Irad Ortiz, and they're going to be here for the meet, and they're going to win races. But Tyler's got the Kentucky connections after riding here over the past several years. Not that Pratt and Ortiz can't get on just about every horse that they want, but Gaffleon's going to ride more volume. And in terms of winning a riding title, he's still, to me, the favorite to win the Keeneland riding title when we get to the end of 4 weeks. Race number 4 is next up on the program, and this is a $10,000 starter allowance. And what an interesting group we have in here, because Baby Yoda, as we talked about, he's the top pick for me. He's the top pick for Gabby. He's the top pick for Kim Nelson in the Keeneland selectors box. But One for Richie's an awful good horse, and One for Richie, I almost pulled the trigger and put on top. I'm not sure down on the rail how the trip's going to work out for One for Richie, but this is a really talented horse. He's won 2 of his last 3 down at Oaklawn. The Oaklawn horses have struggled early in the meet, no question about that. That's one of the reasons why I didn't pull the trigger. Cipriano Contreras, the trainer, is red hot. I handicap Oaklawn for the Horse Player Now Buzz Report in addition to Keeneland, and Contreras has been very, very, very good over the past couple weeks down there. Again, 2 wins in the last 3 starts for One for Richie, but the one defeat was Greeley and Ben, a horse who had rattled off like 8 wins out of 9 starts, just a real machine in the starter allowance ranks, and a stakes quality sprinter. So One for Richie comes with great credentials. He's got to get the trip from down on the rail. We'll see. You know, he's got a rider who hasn't ridden here that much, certainly not at the meet in Esquivel. So I'm going to be against the one in here in terms of on top, but certainly a horse that you have to consider. The 4 Thirsty Betrayal is one you've got to keep an eye on for closing in the exacta. I do not think the 4 can win this race, but Baby Yoda is very fast. One for Richie's fast. We know Beverly Park, a 3-time winner here at Keeneland, is very fast as well. There is speed in this race, and when that's the case, if Baby Yoda runs back to his Saratoga form, what happens sometimes when you get these horses who just discourage the competition. Let's say Baby Yoda runs back to one of those big races he had in New York last year. He discourages everybody who was close to him in chasing, and that sets up for kind of a clunk-along closer, if you will, to pass tired horses, and that could be Thirsty Betrayal. I think Thirsty Betrayal is the horse from off the pace that you want to get in there. So that's your exacta play horse. Now, does Baby Yoda win this race for sure? It's a weird placement, you know, and do you want to trust a horse like this at 2 to 5, 3 to 5? I don't know how low the public's going to go on it because there are other good options. Again, One for Richie, a very good option. A Win Machine, like we've got, you know, to the outside with, or to the 3-hole with Beverly Park. I mean, there are good options in here besides Baby Yoda, so how deep will the public go? I still think he's got to be 4 to 5 in here, but he may not be 2 to 5, 3 to 5 with those other options. Nonetheless, I think you take Baby Yoda on top and get Thirsty Betrayal second. Smaller exactas, I would take One for Richie and Beverly Park on top with the 4-horse second. So to me, the way to attack this race is 5-4 exacta is your strong play. and then 1-3 over the 4 is your backup, smaller play. Maybe you play twice as much on the 5-4 as you do the 1-3 over the 4. But the 4 is the key. The price horse, I don't think he's going to get bet. I think he's got a shot to run in the money. I do want to note that Beverly Park in here, a 3-time winner on the Keeneland Dirt. I went back and did some research in the Keeneland database. It's free at Keeneland.com. You can get a lot of great stats and trends by going through that database and downloading it into Excel and filtering things around. I found 10 horses in the database who had won 3 times on the main track here since Keeneland went back to dirt in fall of 2014. Beverly Park being one of those. Nobody has won 4, so maybe we'll see a little bit of history made in race number 4 with the first 2-time winner or 4-time winner on the Keeneland Dirt since the 2014 return of that surface. Back to the big picture we go. The race 4 will start the pick 6, as we just talked about. Baby Yoda, definitely 1 for Richie. You've got to use, and I think you can also consider Beverly Park in there. I would go 3 deep if you're playing the pick 6. We want to let you know, I should have told you this at the top of the show, but that's what happens when we go live and wing it. We've got a $36,000 carryover in the pick 6. Nobody hit it on Wednesday, so a $36,000 carryover into the pick 6, which starts in race number 4. Race number 5 is a swing, as we've got marked there. Race number 5 will be the final leg of the early pick 5, first leg of the late pick 5. And when you can come up with a horse you like in a race like this, that's when you kind of want to really jump in and attack. I'm a little leery of this race in that the stats and trends tell me with elder maiden special weights in race number 5 like we have, that you lean to the experience. The first-time starters do not have a good win percentage in these older maiden special weight races at Keeneland during the spring meets historically. But there are some, first-time starters that you really want to watch in here. Nabokov, the 1. I mean, this is a horse who costs $775. I mean, expensive, well-met horse for Chad Brown and Peter Brandt. Nabokov is a 3-year-old taking on elders, however. Now, the weight allowance is 118 pounds, so they'll get 7 pounds for the rivals. But down on the rail, first-time starter, going against elders. The first-timers don't typically do well in these races statistically, so I'm against Nabokov in here, but I respect the connections in the horse and the $775 purchase price. The workouts look decent, so this horse could be a runner, but I've got to take a stand against them. Also, the 4, Charge It to the Game, is a Into Mischief colt. It was an expensive purchase as well, $400,000 plus Ben Colebrook. This horse is really working well. Ben's horses here at Keeneland usually fire a decent shot. They may need a race, but this horse tends to look on paper like a very live wire first time out. Charge It to the Game, the 4-1 you want to consider, but again, a first-time starter. So I went with a horse who had some experience, that had the best races on paper, and that was Run Pat the 8. This is Brad Cox. This is Florent Giroux, coming off a second-place finish at Fairgrounds last time on a good track. I was a little surprised they offered this horse up for a maiden claiming in the second career start, but it was $75,000 at Churchill, so it's not that they kind of gave up on this run happy quickly. A $200,000 purchase, got away that day running for the $75,000 claiming, and did not get haltered that day when running second. Came back with a good race at Fairgrounds in March. Run Pat looks most logical of the horses who have raced, but I am a little bit leery of the first-time starters in terms of this being a swing race, as we talk about for the pick 4 and pick 5. If you want to lay in and single Run Pat, I'm not going to argue with you, but I wouldn't mind seeing the late pick 5 start up versus the early pick 5 if you're going to single Run Pat, because I'd like to see what those first-timers look like, the 1 Nabokov and the 4 Charge It to the Game. I can't do that if I'm playing the early pick 5, because race 5, obviously, we're not going to see the horses at that point. So if you're playing the early pick 5, I think this is a 3 or 4 deep race. The 6 Ratification is also one you can use. So this is kind of like a little bit different in terms of a swing race. In the early pick 5, you may want to go 4 deep in here with the 1, 4, 6, and 8. But in the late pick 5, even though it's the same race, you're going to get to see, is the 1 live? Is the 1 looking good pre-race? Any kind of info you can get from Scott and Gabby and the TV host about the horse, any clocker information that might trickle in on those 2 first-time starters. Maybe in race number 5, you end up singling there on the late pick 5 when you find something you really like. Maybe the word on the street is and the looks in the paddock are the 2 first-time starters aren't any great shakes, so then you just want to lean on Run Pat and go for a single. When it comes to single or spread, most often my recommendation is to single and bet the ticket for more. So I'd rather hit a race with 1 horse 4 times than to have 4 50-cent combinations of 4 different runners. So if that's really the end determination that you have to make in race number 5, then go with the single, run Pat the horse to beat there in the swing race, race number 5. The 6th race on the card is our first turf race of the day. We haven't had many turf races this week, obviously. Just 1 on the card on Wednesday, 2 on the card Thursday. So no Keeneland Turf Pick 3. That will resume on Friday. But we do get our first of 2 turf races coming up in race number 6. And race 6 is an allowance at 1 mile and a 16th. We also have a 1 mile and a 16th allowance in race number 8. But they're kind of 2 different classes of horses. This is an entry-level allowance, a 1 other than, as they call it. In terms of this race, I thought the 7 Take the Back Roads was just going to come barreling out of here with speed. Tom Amos trainee coming out of 5.5 furlong turf sprints at Fairgrounds, trying to stretch out to 1 mile and a 16th. I think Take the Back Roads goes barreling out of there very fast. And the horse who sits second in these kind of races often just trips out, where the sprint speed comes back right away, plummets through the field, and the horse who assumes coming out of the far turn, and when they straighten out for home, just has it right in their lap. I think the one, I Got a Gal, might sit that perfect trip second under Luis Saez. Peter Urton had a nice winner here with Dream Shake, the former graded stakes place performer. Came back and won an allowance race here on Sunday, Dream Shake. Urton is back with I Got a Gal. He goes to Saez. Look, Luis Saez won 30% of his races at Keeneland last year. He is off to a terrible start by his standards. He's off to a bad start, period. But by his standards, it's almost unfathomable. He's going to turn it on. He's not getting the Florida and New York pick of the litter like he may have in past meets with Irad Ortiz here full-time, with, Flavian Pratt coming in from California. So the mounts are a little more choice, and they're a little more hard to get this season than maybe Saez had in meets past here at Keeneland full-time. But he's going to turn it on. We know he's a great rider tactically. So I would expect he's going to get a great trip with I Got a Gal in race number 6. And this is a race where you've got some of the fullest fields, right? The races 6 and 9 are where we've got the big fields. 12-horse field, we've got a horse we like, I Got a Gal, who I think is probably going to be about third choice in here. I don't think I Got a Gal is going to be the favorite. So if we can get a second or third choice in a big field, it's time to attack the exotics. I think you really want to look at the tries and the supers in race number 6. And let's see if Take the Back Roads can't set the pace, I Got a Gal, go by in the stretch and be the one who keys on top. So for me, I'm on I Got a Gal in race number 6. 7th race on the card is a claiming race, upper level claiming, $50,000 claiming tag here. When we get these upper level claiming races at Keeneland in the past spring meets, Fairgrounds horses have been very good and worth a look statistically in these races, and that's what we get with Blue Kentucky, a horse coming out of the Fairgrounds. Trino Wayne Catalano's had a very uncharacteristic year for him, just 1 victory on the season. But if you look at the race, this horse is coming out of Blue Kentucky. Last time out, took on Chat-A-Lot and Teano Twist. Chat-A-Lot was the horse who won the Sugar Bowl Stakes down at Fairgrounds this winter. Teano Twist just ran back, had a little bit of a troubled trip, but didn't run well in the Lafayette. But Teano Twist is a stakes place horse, a stakes winner in the Lively Shively at Churchill last season. So he comes out of a really good race. So last time out, Blue Kentucky faced, I think, tougher than these 50,000 claimers have seen for sure with Chat-A-Lot and Teano Twist. Certainly the company line there is good, as is with the 5, Wicked Genius, of course. His last race came against Zozos, an allowance company at Oakland. Zozos went on to run a big second in the Louisiana Derby. So high-quality company lines with the 4 and the 5. And, of course, the one Yono, 2 starts back. This horse with 5th beaten 13 down at Fairgrounds, but it was by Cyberknife. It would go on to win the Arkansas Derby. So 3-year-old claimers for 50,000, but some pretty good running lines. They're trying to find a little bit easier company. I think it's the 4 Blue Kentucky in here. I think the horses who run short are a little bit better at this claiming level than the cutback horses going route the sprint at this classification of runner statistically. So I'm leaning towards the sprint type horses. Blue Kentucky is that. That'll be my choice in race number 7. 8th race on the card is the toughest race on the program. What an excellent race we've got in race number 8. So let's go to the handicappers consensus and see what the public handicappers have up with in here. I've got as many as 5 of the runners in here that I would like to use in the pick 4 and pick 5. If we can narrow some of the other races, using 5 of the 7 in here is kind of the way I'm leaning right now. Maybe we'll get a little bit of luck with some scratches or the way the course is playing or something like that to make some sort of determination. But with only one turf race prior to this, it's probably not going to be to give us much help in the multivariate bets. But 8th race on the card, this is a tough one. And I've got a price in here named Curly Ruth. And this is one where I've got to attack the price. I say, from a pick 4, pick 5 standpoint, this is a tough race, and you may want to go deep in here. But when you talk about a 12-1 morning line shot that you have in a card that looks like there are a lot of favorites who could be in there, Curly Ruth is a horse I've got to have in a win play. And I've got to make my hay on Curly Ruth today on Thursday if I'm going to get anything in the straight pools. Luis Saez again. I could have a nice day with Luis Saez if we're right there. But, this horse has run some good races here at Keeneland. The race last year I thought was really good at Keeneland in the fall meet. Rallied from off the pace to win. Beat Sweet Melania that day. If you watch Sweet Melania, she's such a good front runner and controls the pace. And he was able to reel her in with no help, or she was able to reel her in without much pace help. I like that horse for course angle here on the turf as well. So Curly Ruth is my pick for Eddie Keneally here in race number 8. But this is one where you could go a lot of different ways. I mean, the 2 Temple City Terror dropping out of the graded stakes ranks is a high-quality runner. Norma Jean B is coming off 2 really nice races from the West Coast. Vladimir Serin bringing that one east. Norma Jean B certainly got a resume. Princess Causeway is a horse who I think is going to maybe just try to send from the inside in a race where there's not a ton of early speed in here. Princess Causeway was able to go wire to wire at Keeneland in the fall meet. Maybe this horse can get loose from the rail under John Velasquez. I think you want to respect the 1 in here, and also the 7, Fluffy Socks. We talked about the public handicappers here. Fluffy Socks, the pick of Kim Nelson, as well as Tom Leach, and that's a Chad Brown filly. Fluffy Socks, the knock I have on her is she's pretty much only running against 3-year-olds, and now as a 4-year-old, she's got to take on the elders. And a lot of times, the first time for a 3-year-old to go against older horses, it's a whole different ballgame, because when you think about turfers, 3-year-old turfers specifically I'm talking about, it's like a double restriction, right? The horses had to be 3-year-olds last year. They had to like the turf. They had to be fillies. So it's like 3-year-old fillies turf. It's a subset of a subset of a subset. Now they go against open mares on the turf, and things open up a little bit tougher. So it could be a tougher go for Fluffy Socks, but you've got to respect Rosario and Chad Brown. From a multi-race standpoint, I think this is a race where you might spread. But intra-race, if we can get 12-1 on Curly Ruth, we have to attack there. If Curly Ruth is too short of a price, though, that's where you say, you know what? It's not my day. I'm not playing at 4-1. This is a horse who has to be a price in here. I think the horse can sit second and be behind Princess Causeway and really get a good trip. But in a race where I think there are like 5 legitimate contenders out of 7, I want 4-1 if I'm going to get invested, and especially off a 12-1 morning line. So Curly Ruth the pick, and this is one of my key plays of the day in the win pool. If you can get the price with all the other favorites, right? I say I have 6 favorites picked on top from the 9 races on the Thursday card. I've got to get a price somewhere if I'm going to make a win bet on the program. Otherwise, I'm playing a lot of multi-race wagers and trying to find and make value. So that's the way it shakes out in race number 8 on the turf. And the 9th and final on the program is a maiden special weight, mile and a 16th race on the main track. This is the other big field on the card, maxing out with a good field size. So we want to get some win value in here if we can find it. Warrior Johnny is my pick in the nightcap. And again, just like the 3-year-old and up races, this one is straight 3-year-olds in the finale. But first-time starters do not do well in these 3-year-old races of maiden specials in the spring at Keeneland, especially going long at a mile and 16. So I'm going to lean the horses who have run. Warrior Johnny's got the best races on form. I like the Cairo Prince in the pedigree. I like the race at the fairgrounds last time knocking on the door. So it's Warrior Johnny on top for me. That's going to be my play in the finale. Lean towards the experience. The 2 Cape Trafalgar should be very tough in here for Safi Joseph. Coming up north from Florida, he gets Irad Ortiz. Those 2 team up to win a lot at Gulfstream Park. And favorites and horses that figure do very, very well in these maiden special weight 3-year-old races going long, about 50% favorite hit rate. So Cape Trafalgar, I think, is going to be favored in this spot. I wouldn't get too far down the pike with long shots in here. But Cape Trafalgar, Warrior Johnny, I think if you can get those two, I've got Brigadier General picked third, but this is our Brigadier Gerard, Brigadier General. But he's a horse who just kind of gets pieces. I wouldn't put him on the win end. I think you just go too deep in the finale for the multi-race wagers. It's the experienced horses. Cape Trafalgar, the favorite, but I'll try to beat him with Warrior Johnny, who could be somewhere in that 3-1, 7-2 range, hopefully, as the second choice. Final look at the Keeneland Handicapper Selectors box as we open up the bottom for you there. Again, I've got Warrior Johnny, as does Scott Hazelton and Gabby Gaudet. Cape Trafalgar, the only pick by Kim Nelson. She's on an island there with a horse who's probably going to end up with the favorite. We had that happen on today's finale, too. I was the only horse who had the horse picked on top, who was 7-5, who won the final race on the program. Usually when you're on an island as a public handicapper, it's the only one with a horse. It's a horse that gets let go by the public, but everybody else jumped off the bandwagon on the favorite who won the finale today. Maybe it happens again in race number 9 on Thursday. My dad used to tell me the best bet in racing is the favorite in the last race, because everybody who lost is trying to find somebody at a price, and the favorite in the last race maybe should be 9-5. They end up going off 3-1 because everybody else is trying to chase a price. Don't know the stats behind that, but it sounds good at the racetrack, and a lot of those great stories around the track are the ones that stick with you anyway. So hopefully you got some stories to share and some wins to celebrate on Thursday at Keeneland. We'll be back to preview the Friday card on Thursday night. Just a reminder, what a big schedule we've got coming up on Friday. We've got the Maker's Mark Mile and also the Limestone Stakes on Friday. And then on Saturday, it's the Jenny Wiley and the Lexington. So a lot going on. We'll have the $200,000 guaranteed late pick 4 on Friday. A lot cooking at Keeneland. If you're a handicapping tournament player, just a little heads up coming up, not this Saturday, but down the road, the Grade 1 Gamble at Keeneland, I believe, is a week from Saturday. So if you want to get involved there's some online outlets and ADWs as well where you can sign up and play, or on track at Keeneland for the Grade 1 Gamble, one of the great handicapping contests around the country coming up here during the month of April at Keeneland. On behalf of everybody at Keeneland and Horse Player Now, I'm Jeremy Plonk. Have a great Thursday. Let's see if it's not as wacky as Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.